most of you know the anthem anyway. So
Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
thank you. Could we invite Sheikh to come and lead us in an Islamic prayer?
بسم الله ما شاء الله لا يسوق خير إلا الله بسم الله ما شاء الله لا يصرف السوء إلا الله بسم الله ما شاء الله ما كان من نعمة فمن الله بسم الله ما شاء الله لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم اللهم إنا نسألك خير هذا اليوم وخير ما فيه وخير ما قبله وخير ما بعده ونعوذ بك من شر هذا اليوم وشر ما فيه وشر ما قبله وشر ما بعده الفاتحة آمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين آمين آمين.
Thank you very much. Could we have Monica please come and lead us in a word of prayer? If she has stepped out. She may have stepped out. Could we have a volunteer? Just imagine that somebody is asking you to go to heaven now. So the first person, yes, you're going to heaven.
Let's humble ourselves to pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this place. And we thank you so much for the person who is going to launch a book. Father, we thank you so much for the wisdom and authority that you gave him. Lord, that has been your inspiration. Because without you, nobody here on earth can do anything. It has been, Lord, your power and your glory that has come, Lord, upon his life. So, Lord, we thank you so much for his life. And also we thank you so much for every person who has come in this place. It is not because of power. It is not because of mighty, but the Spirit of the Lord. So, Father, as we are in this place, that everything that is going to happen in this place be blessed. All people, they say, amen. In Jesus' name.
Sorry, could I get your name, please?
I'm called Pastor Darwin.
Pastor, thank you so much. Now, our distinguished guests, you're welcome. Please do have your seats. Like I said, we could hold you here for the whole evening. And I trust we actually will, because we expect to have a really exciting evening. But for now, it really gives me honor, it gives me much pleasure to welcome you here. So, our guest of honor, representing the CDF of the Uganda People's Defense Forces, justices of the courts, the judiciary in Uganda, the heads of diplomatic missions, members of parliament present, members of the various constitutional commissions, members of the armed forces, historicals, representatives of the Commissioner General of Prisons, representatives from the Uganda Police, senior government officials, the business community, Rotarians, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. We are really, really honored to have you here today. And I'm sure you all know why we're here. It's one of these events we have looked forward to, the launch of Uganda Since 1986, a book that is written by an eminent foreign service officer and somebody that has lived a life in Uganda. I'm sure we shall get to know about that, not only in his book, but even when we hear from him later. Our distinguished guests, we would like to know more about this book. So what we plan to do today, what we plan to do tonight, is first of all, we shall hear a few words from a few people. I shall give them a few moments to compose themselves. We would like to hear, for instance, from the historicals, from the UPDF. And you'll eventually get to understand why and the link that is there between the life of the author and the situation that we had in Uganda at the time. And then thereafter, we shall also invite one of the close friends to say a word. We have got several foreign service officers here, some serving and others retired at the different levels. We shall have a word from them. And then after that, we shall hear from the author before we call our guest of honor to step forward and lead us through the official launch of this book. So I'm just going to give you 2 minutes. I'll ask the band to please come back. I'll give you 2 minutes to compose yourselves, and thereafter I shall invite one of the members from the UPDF to come and give us a sneak peek into life in Uganda and the life of Ambassador Dixon and the connection that is there between these two. So over to the band. We'll just give you 2 minutes, so please don't take too long and don't go too far, because I will need you once again after that. So thank you very much, and once again, you're most welcome.
So sweet, so beautiful. Every day like a queen on a throne. No, nobody knows how she feels. Lady, every day would be your man. She moves like a queen. Every day like a queen on her throne. No, nobody knows how she feels. I said, lady, plenty one need to be real. I should smile for me now. I Aisha, mama, my. Aisha, moves like a queen, yo. Aisha, in my life, yo. She moves like a queen. No, nobody knows how she smiles. She walks like a queen. I said, lady, one day it will be real. I should smile for me now. I should, mama. I should in my life. I should, mama, oh. Them tunes, Mondo. I should scream for me now. I should, mama, I should in my life. I should smile for me now. I should, mama, I should in my life.
Thank you very much. Now, please, Neptunes, don't go very far. We enjoy looking at you and listening to you. Okay. Now, distinguished guests, there are a few people, like I said earlier, that will actually say, just give us a word or two, and we shall ask them not to speak for too long, because we know why we have come here. We would like to have this book launched. But to give you some historical perspective, first of all, from the Foreign Service, before we go to the military, I would like to invite Ambassador Mul Katende. This is one of the most distinguished names in the Foreign Service in Uganda. I'm sure all the young people who have joined the Foreign Service in Uganda will mention that as they joined, they heard of Ambassador Katende. So let me invite Ambassador Mul Katende to come and just give us a word. And of course, we shall get to know how he is connected or related to Ambassador Dixon Ogwang. Thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you very much, moderator. Good evening, guests. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate Ambassador Dixon Ogwang for writing this book. Unfortunately, I have not yet read the book, but I'll soon read it, and I can imagine what is in the book. Dixon, we worked together in Washington, and he was a very important asset for us representing Uganda. You know, Dixon is a religious man. I didn't know before. He's a very religious man, and that worked forever. Because, as some of you may know, one of the groups that can lead you into knowing America and also achieving your objectives are the evangelicals. And Dixon was on soft ground there. He was a very useful person. He linked us into the inside of the politique of America, and were able to achieve many things for our country. Dixon was also a person that put a brick on the security of Uganda. All of you know what we went through when Kony was wreaking havoc in northern Uganda. And Dixon was one of the links. For all that happened between the government of Uganda and LRA, we had a very useful counsel from Dixon. I was ambassador to Sudan that time, and it was not easy. It was not easy to see all these abducted children they had lost their way, and government had to do something. I didn't know that. I didn't know the depth of the Kony war until I met with some of the children who had been traumatized. The UPDF will recover them from the bush, bring them to Juba, and it was difficult to make them sleep in houses. The best was for them to be put in some bush. They were comfortable there. You can see how far this war had taken us. So for people like Ambassador Dixon to put a brick on that, I don't know whether you were paid, but since you are a religious man, God will pay you. And I'm happy that you have put these things in your book. I've not read, but I'm sure somewhere you talk about it, because it was a big contribution. In the profession of diplomacy, all those who go through it, our responsibility is to link our country, our government, with opportunities out there. And I might testify that Ambassador Dixon did that very well, because he was my deputy, and he was very good at helping us solve many scenarios in America. So thank you very much. And as I said, it is only God that will pay you. Thank you, moderator. I'll read the book, and when you bring us here back, I'll give a critique. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Thank you, Ambassador Katende. And maybe at this juncture, because I can see them, I cannot fail to recognize the other very senior foreign service officers that we have in our midst. I noticed, of course, that we have got Ambassador Eli Kamahunge, who is the Director of Economic and Commercial Diplomacy at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and you're most welcome. He's also representing the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I can also see Ambassador Mugoya, eminent former Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I believe in our midst we should also have Ambassador Stephen Chinji. So Foreign Affairs are supportive, and I'm sure they are looking forward, and they want to know, for those who have not read, they of course want to know about all the experiences that Ambassador Dixon would share with the public. So thank you very much, Ambassador Mulkatende. Now, without a break, I would like to invite somebody else from the Army, from the UPDF, Major General Innocent Ola. I have known him personally as a former member of Parliament representing the UPDF in the Parliament of Uganda. But here, he's representing the historicals, and I'm sure you're all curious to find out what he actually has to say about the connection. So, General, you're most welcome.
Thank you so much. Our guest of honor, all the invited guests, I'm actually humbled to be here to witness how Dixon, Ambassador Wang, has narrated how Uganda has been since 1986. I knew Ambassador Wang. First of all, I heard about him when we had that problem in the north of insurgency. He voluntarily came and joined the forces that were there as a volunteer. He was not a soldier himself. And later on, after he helped to pacify the area where the Lord Resistance Army had infiltrated Lango up to Teso, and where some of them were defeated, he was part of it. He was part of those that gave a hand to bringing peace in that part of the country. He later on joined, I think he came to the forces, he joined the police, and after that he went to school. He went to study law, and he became a prosecutor of government. And that is when I think he was singled out, he was identified, and he joined foreign service. There was one time when I went to US and met the ambassador here. And he had just stayed there for a while. He had not stayed for long. But he knew everything that we wanted from US. Because we had gone there for an official duty. But whatever we wanted, he was there handy to give us assistance. Apart from that, he's a cultural person. Ambassador, here in Lango, we have the cultural institution where we have clan leaders led by the paramount chief, commonly known as Wonyasi. Dixon, when he came back from the US, was brought back, and then again redeployed in Sudan, he went back home to ask, I think he was called by the clan that he leads now to come and lead. So he went back, then was enthroned as the clan leader. Even now, as he sits here, he's one of the cultural leaders, commonly known as a Witong of a clan in Lango. A duty that he carries on very well. And recently, as it may happen to other tribes and to other communities, there were problems in Lango over cultural leadership. Ambassador here was a peacemaker again. He was on the other side. He was on one side, and then the current paramount chief was also on the other side. He didn't agree with his administration. But of recent, Ambassador Wang is trying to rally Lango as a whole to come together, to join hands together, to unite under one leadership. And he didn't just say it, he put it in writing. He resigned his former post and said, we want to come together, we have to come together as people of Lango. So, as you have heard, at the beginning, Ambassador Katende talked about how he brought peace, he helped to bring peace in northern Uganda. Now he's helping to bring sanity in the cultural institution of Lango. We want to thank him for that. So, Ambassador is a resourceful person. We adore him so much where we are, because I think he's one of the leaders of our cultural institution. Not only that, he's part of government, the national government of this country. I thank you very much for listening to me. And I wish, Ambassador, you know, when you start to write a book like this one, people will sit down and wait to hear when is another book coming out. So it is writing, I'm told, is contagious. If you write a book, then you have to bring another book thereafter. Thank you very
much. Thank you, General. Thank you so much. For those of you who are thinking about writing books, you've heard it, it's contagious. So as you start, plan on writing 2 books, or maybe 3 books, or maybe 4. I need to use the opportunity, because I also noticed that we have a few other persons from the armed forces in our midst. So allow me also to recognize Brigadier Ndianabo, who is here in our midst. And then, of course, representing the CDF, we've got Brigadier Paddy Ankunda, somebody that needs very little introduction in Uganda. We're happy to have you in our midst. I notice we have got persons from the Uganda Police Force, Commissioner Simon Peter Okoshi, and we also have Commissioner Kasimo Thomas. Thank you very much. From Uganda Prisons, we've got a Commissioner Moses Sentabo, representing the CGP. You're most welcome. So this just gives you a picture of the kind of guests that we have and the different points of contact they have with Ambassador Dickson Ogwang. Now, shortly, I'm going to be inviting 2 very special persons here. One of them is the person that we could actually regard as Ambassador Dickson's mother, by virtue of the fact of the upbringing. So shortly I shall invite Honorable Beatrice Lagada to come and say a word. And thereafter, I'll also invite a former DPP in Uganda. I call him Uncle, and he knows why, Uncle Charles Elem. I shall also invite him from the Financial Intelligence Authority to just come and say a word. But for now, I'll just invite our band to just give us another short piece, even as the two eminent guests prepare their words. So over to Neptunes again. Thank you.
Check on you. I got this feeling down deep in my soul that I just can't lose. 'Cause I'm on my way. Needed a friend, and the way I feel now, because I'll be with you to the end. 'Cause I'm on my way. Really glad to stay. Stuck on you. Been a fool too long. I can't stand for me to come home. Guess I'm on my way. So hard to see that a woman like you could wear a rubber in my life. Guess I'm on my way. Very glad to stay. I'm coming on Tuesday. I'm stuck on you. I got this feeling down deep in my soul that I just can't lose. 'Cause I'm on my way. I needed a friend, and the way I feel now, because I'll be with you to the end. 'Cause I'm on my way. Pretty glad you stay, girl. I'm so good to stay. I'm so glad you stay.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Neptunes. Yes, you can clap. You don't have a knife and fork in your hand yet. We shall have dinner, but you don't have a knife and fork in your hand, so you're allowed to clap. Thank you very much. Now, distinguished guests, we have Honorable Beatrice Lagada in our midst. For those of you who remember Uganda's history, those of you who recall, she was one of the most outstanding members of parliament. She's going to remind us which parliament that was, but from Oyam. You made your contribution in history, of course, and you're most welcome to come and just give us a word. I'm sure everybody is wondering what the connection is, but they will make the connection once you're through. Honorable, you're most welcome.
Thank you very much, our chief guest and all invited guests. It is indeed a great honor for me to stand here this evening. I was whispering to my neighbor, the ambassador Katende Apuli there, that this hall at one time was a home to me for nearly 1.5 years when we were making the constitution, 1995 constitution of Uganda. So I have very fond memories of this particular hall here. And I traveled a long way, all the way from northern Uganda, to be here this evening, to witness my son launch his book. Really, I have the pride of a mother. Dixon became a son to me in a most interesting way. Somebody said here, I think it was General Innocent Oula who said here a moment ago, this man likes volunteering into dangerous grounds. Dixon had just finished senior 6 when we went into elections of 1994. I'd never heard of him, he had never seen me. Then he simply surfaced and told me, said, you know what? I want to be part of your campaign team. Now, I call that dangerous grounds because in 1994, to identify with the movement in Lango of all places was a most risky business. I'm sure I can see some sons of the soil here, and they will agree with me that it was no joke. You had to be either very brave or some other name which I don't want to mention here. But Dixon came, he became part of my team, he coordinated my campaign in the whole lot of the then Greater Apache, which was really, really big. And we got victory. And from that time on, Dixon became part of my family. And I want to say I am proud of you, son, because you are one of those children of mine, and I have many of them, who has made me proud. Dixon is somebody who likes challenges, I believe. When you hear his story, and I'm sure he's going to be able to tell it himself, he likes challenges. And when he goes in with all his heart. He doesn't look back and gives off his very best. And so this evening, I am glad that you've put something down. We have come a long way in this country, a very, very long way since 1986. For those of us who are old like myself, who have lived long enough, we know the journey that this country has made. Incidentally, Dixon, Cindy, who is my last born, my daughter, is going to be 40 years old this coming March. And the reason why she's my last born and is going to become 40 years old is tied to the history of this country, that I nearly died when the 1986 takeover was taking place. I was nearly 9 months pregnant, and because of the gunshots, I climbed a wall which was so high. Don't ask me how a 9-month-old woman climbed a very high wall and did not die in the process. But it was so traumatic that although I was not yet 30, I decided never ever again to be pregnant because of the experience of wars. And so, when President Museveni, who has held this country for nearly 40 years without gunshots of takeover, when there's a man like that, somebody like me who knows what it means to sleep in the bushes, who nearly lost her life, who had all my girlhood was full of wars and takeovers and what, you can understand why we appreciate him. We appreciate him because for 40 years in many places in Uganda, we've been able to sleep and do whatever we want to do and make all the noises and do whatever without getting the trauma I went through. And so, my son, I am happy that you put it all down. I yet have to read it. Of course, being a mother, I am very happy since I'm going to get a signed copy from you for free. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Agada. I'm sure you agree with me that that is another novel in the making, because we have not heard the full story. But today is not for that story. But Honorable Lagada, please put down that story. I'm sure the next time we come here, I'll offer my services to be your MC so that we can actually get to read that story. So thank you very much. Let's give a round of applause. Now, I would like to invite somebody else, somebody that was a mentor to Ambassador Dixon. This is Mr. Charles Elem Ogwal, who was the Deputy DPP, Director of Public Prosecution in Uganda, at the time that Ambassador Dixon was also working as a public prosecutor. So we look forward to hearing about your connection. Thank you.
Thank you, my son. Guest of honor, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very proud to be in front of you this evening to talk about my mentee, Dixon Ogwangokul. This gentleman is an enigma. I could not understand him when I first interacted with him. I didn't know what he was all about. He's a very brilliant person who tells me he was coming from the forces to become a prosecutor, which is the lowest ranked job in prosecution services of Uganda. He is a man whose brain, attitude, and general grasp of life seemed so superior to that of what we believed was a low point, very low post. So I started asking him, why are you doing this? And of course, when you're mentoring somebody, he appeared to me somebody who may not know what he wants. So I decided, I said, let's try and bring him up. Because in my assessment, there are people who are born to do great things. And then there are people who can be helped to do great things. In my estimation, I found that this mentee was a naturally gifted individual. Any assignment you gave him, he would do it twice over. Very religious. Of course, me personally, I do not like people who, when challenged, they resort to prayers as a first instance. So I said, how are you going to manage like this? And you know, prosecutions, some people think it is something where you have to be a bit heartless or what. But Dixon told me, I'm going to manage, the Lord will guide me. And the Lord indeed guided him. So he went back to school, became a fully fledged state attorney. And when he went back to school, we were of course told that he was among the best students at Makerere University. Congratulations, my boy. Soon thereafter, he came and told me that the president has called me and offered me to be an ambassador. And I said, Dixon, this is something which was almost ordained, because you seem to be somebody who was too big for the DPP. You had become a state attorney, but still there was that hunger to achieve more. And then the rest is history. He was posted to New York. I went to America, met him there. He was doing very well. But as with all great men, there will always be guys and people who will try to be pulling them down. So he had those unfortunate incidents, which is, I think, part of being a great man. I'm happy he went through it. He came back, went to Sudan, and as our traditional leader, he came back and joined and tried to stabilize Lao traditional house, which he did properly and efficiently. I know that in his book, he's going to address all these subjects, and it will be an interesting read. I've not yet read it, but trusting him, I know it will be one good hell of a book. Dixon, we love you. We know you're meant for good things, and bigger things are in the pipeline for you. God bless you and bless your family always and forever. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, we continue. There are quite a few people that would love to make just a word, 2 minutes, just to say something. So let me invite Commissioner Okoshi to Simon Peter. Commissioner, please come and say something. He's Director of Operations. I believe that is it, Director of Operations in the Uganda Police Force. You'll correct me if I'm wrong, but please come and say something. Then we shall make that connection between you and Ambassador Dixon. Please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to ride on the protocol as already established. My name is Okoshi. Okoshi. Simon Peter. It sounds Japanese, but I'm a Ugandan. But people have chosen not to pronounce the I, so they just call me Okosh, and I'm comfortable with that. If I'm to talk about Dixon, I would spend the whole evening talking. But I must say that when Dixon joined Dr. Bote College, the mighty Dr. Bote College Boroboro, I was a few classes ahead of him. So I protected him from the bullies. Much as given his stature, even it was difficult to bully him. Along the way, he stood out from the crowd. We went different ways. Somehow I joined the police after pursuing a career in the hotel industry. As Honorable Beatrice Lagada were making the 1994 Constitution, I was in the Strangers Gallery monitoring because I was a staff here at Nile Hotel. So when I joined the police, I was surprised to know that Dixon was working with the office of the DPP. And he asked me if I have any challenges in police, he can see a way of helping me. So it was now the other way around. Little did I know that he had become a very influential person. So when we sit, we talk as students. But between us, we know that there's a great man. Even when you go home, they always say that a prophet at home may not be taken in such high esteem because they're used to seeing him moving around. But at the international arena, Dixon is a big name. And I feel so proud that he invited me to associate with him as he launches this book. I would have talked much, but for now, let me stop here. I'm not the Director of Operations. I'm the Deputy Director of Operations, Uganda Police Force. My boss, Afande AIGP Frank Mwesigwa, was supposed to join us, but he has told me to represent him as well. Thank you so much. I wish you a nice evening.
Well, thank you very much. I'm sure you know that some of us have prophetic words. So maybe you may become the director of operations. We wish you well. Thank you so much. Let's give him a round of applause. Now, you have heard from the police now. I want to bring you now back to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, because that is where Ambassador Dixon cut his niche to such an international standard. So I'll invite two persons. One of them may be ambushed. I'm going to invite Ambassador Patrick Mugoya to come and say a word. I know he was going through the book. And thereafter, we shall stick with Foreign Affairs and also hear from Ambassador Eli, who's representing the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Then after, if all goes well, I should be able to invite you to come and have dinner before we actually cut the ribbon that is here. So, Ambassador Mugoya, if I have ambushed you, you'll forgive me, but I know that you are so used to representing this country, and now you represent Minister of Foreign Affairs. Thank you.
Thank you, MC. And for sure, that was a real ambush. But distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and our host Dixon, it is indeed an honor for me to have been invited by you to be a part of this celebration when you launch this book, which I've been browsing through and which touches a lot on the area of diplomacy and representing our country abroad. I first met Dixon when I was appointed PS Foreign Affairs. I had gone to Murchison Falls National Park, and I met Dixon with a group of American visitors he had brought to Uganda, and they were, enjoying their stay in the park. And I took interest because the way you represent your country, you always put the best foot forward. And he had brought these American visitors to see natural beauty of Uganda, tourism being one of those major areas. And we clicked immediately, because part of the most important areas of our job is to promote and protect the interests of our countries. Tourism was one of the major areas because I had been PS Minister of Tourism, and so we agreed to continue engaging thereafter. But later on, I realized when I met Dixon's better half that many years ago, this was 1984, we were in Canada as a young officer, and her late dad was in Canada with a very young family. And they came to visit. We were very close with Auditor Singh. And from that time, we've been close as families. So for me, it is a privilege and an honor. But as far as Dixon is concerned, all I can confirm and reiterate that Dixon was a very efficient, very effective, and is one of the most effective diplomats we've had as a country. He has represented the country honorably. He spent time in Washington where he built bridges, not only with government, but with important private sector actors in the NGO, fraternity, and others to help the disadvantaged in Uganda. And his love for northern Uganda definitely is evident from what all the speakers here have talked about. His love for his people, his love for his country, his love for peace, his love for development. Those are attributes which any foreign service officer who is going to be effective must have. And Dixon has plenty of that and more. By the time I left the ministry, he was on his way out to Sudan. And all I can do is congratulate you and wish you many more books as your career continues to grow. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Ambassador. I'm sure you can tell that when you become an ambassador, you're just able to speak off cuff. So I was not worried. So thank you very much for all those kind words. Now, like I said, we'll stick with foreign affairs. The person that I'm inviting now, who is not only the representative of the permanent secretary, but also the director of economic and commercial diplomacy, and that is part of what Ambassador Mugoya was talking about. Not just representing the country, but representing our interests. Now, this book, I'm sure you can also tell, has a lot to do with economic and commercial diplomacy. So it gives me pleasure to invite the director of ECD, Ambassador Eli Kamahunge, to kindly come and give us a few words. Ambassador.
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremony. Our chief guest today, distinguished invited guests to this book launch. Thank you very much, Ambassador Ogwang, for inviting the Minister of Foreign Affairs to come and be present. I first of all bring apologies from my permanent secretary, who could not be around because he had other engagements. And he actually called me off guard. I was on my way home, and he called me, said, Eddie, are you around? Because yesterday he was looking for me. He didn't see me. So he said, where are you? I said, I was on my way home. He said, I know you can drive back. So you go and represent me at the launch. And I wanted to find out what was the title of the book. And he told me, said, once you go there, you find the book. And indeed, when I reached here, I wanted to ensure that I look at this book. This Uganda since 1986. And they said, I come from the Directorate of Economic Affairs. I found it quite interesting. And it's quite interesting. It is so good that, Ambassador, I have found time to ensure that you put to pen, you put to paper everything that a foreign service officer, particularly those who are handling economic and commercial diplomacy, should be able to be able to deal with. Starting all the way from the very beginning, this book is quite interesting because you highlight what was happening at the time the NRA took over, and indeed, as you said, the economy had totally collapsed. It had collapsed because those of you who know the statistics, who have the statistics, you'll see that the economy of Uganda was at 3.49 billion US dollars, and compare that to the current one, which is 57.30 billion dollars. That means that the economy of Uganda has been doubling almost every 2 years. So that's why I was telling some people were saying the government's policy of the current transformation they are talking about to drive the economy from 50 billion to 500 billion in the next 15 years. Some people think it is a dream, but it is not a dream. From what you have even written, it is clear that the economy can be able to double every 2 years, and if it doubles every 2 years, then you are going to be able to achieve that. So it's therefore quite interesting, the journey you have written about. And I looked at chapter 17 where you talked about the way the economy was growing, and it was depending on the 3 T's: tea, tobacco, and tourism. And then now you also talked about the 3 C's: the coffee, cotton, and copper, and how the economy is now transforming. So you can see that the economy has greatly transformed from the 3 T's, the 3 C's, to now these other new areas that have been able to drive the economy to just be pushed up. And that is the journey that is continuing to go. I looked at the statistics you are giving, and indeed, when you talked about the transformation that has taken place, a transformation you can imagine that has driven the economy, that was not able to attract any investments, that had no ideals for anybody to be attracted to. Today, Uganda's economy is standing at one of the best economies that people can be able to be proud of, to say it has the highest returns on any investment. And according to Harvard lab, the Harvard University, they have recently produced in their article, they said Uganda's economy has the highest returns anywhere in the world, which now stands at average of 14%, and also at the same time standing at in terms of the returns, you have 14% at average, which is very, 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 very high. And then you also have the economy growing, growing, and then you still have the equity standing at 30%. So again, that shows the journey of Uganda since 1986. This book captures so well what has been happening. What is so amazing, Ambassador, is that I've loved the way you put to book the issue of economic and commercial diplomacy. If anybody goes and opens the book, which what now the government is calling the economic and commercial diplomacy strategic document, which every foreign service officer should be able to look at. Everybody, I would propose that this book of yours be put as one of the appendixes to the economic and commercial strategy, so that people can see in practical terms what you have tried to put down as to what a foreign service officer that is trying to promote Uganda should be able to do. I have no doubt when I read the chapter on which you talk about the role of public diplomacy in as far as investment promotion is concerned. I just recalled that at the time when I was head of public diplomacy at the headquarters, you authored 3 chapters when we were trying to come up with the communication strategy as the whole of government, which was being led by the Prime Minister. And the 3 chapters you wrote were very fundamental in us writing down that the communication strategy, which was supposed to be able to help everyone to ensure that we communicate properly. So I have found this book very vital. You talk about the role of the diaspora, which has been now captured in the current economic and commercial diplomacy strategy as one of the major pillars, that not only are we going to talk about the remittances, but also talking about the skills which you talk about in your book. And you clearly state out what you set out to do with the Ugandan diaspora, convincing them to come to Uganda. So you have been ahead of your time. No wonder that you have been ahead of your time, that even before the economic and commercial diplomacy strategy was written, you had already written that strategy. So we are very grateful, and our hope is that this book should be able to be put on as an appendix to the strategy, which we have said every foreign service officer, every ambassador, every person that is interested in promoting economic and commercial diplomacy, both at home and abroad, should be able to read. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador. Can you give him a round of applause? I think I'm feeling more and more like an important person for being a friend to Ambassador Dixon. I'm enjoying the moment as well. It's rubbing off on me. So thank you very much. Now, allow me to, I just wanted to recognize, some of you did not see Justice Chibita. He was here earlier. He was representing the Chief Justice. He kept time, so he was here much earlier. So for those of you who came much later, you missed out on seeing him. And I also recognize Justice Deepa Verma from the High Court in Impiji. I must say, not only is this recognition because of what you do, but also just in case I get into trouble in future, I should be able to call her and say, do you remember me? I recognized you. But Justice, you're most welcome. Now, also, I have to recognize the Member of Parliament from Otuke, Honorable Paul Omara. Honorable Paul Omara, I think I will actually ask you to come here and speak for a moment. And I'm doing this because my wife is from your constituency. And if I don't recognize you, I might not have a place to stay at home. So, Ambassador Paul, just a word.
Wow. I will ride on the protocol already observed. Ambassador Dixon, what a day. Thank you for inviting us to witness the launch of your book. As Afande Okosi has said, we were together in the same class, Dr. Botes College with the Afande Simon Senior 5 2006. I joined Makerere before him, he followed me later on. But we could see a young cock, you know, when someone is going to be female and male, you know them by the, yes, so we saw the young man coming up, and definitely when he went through the careers which has been described, as the people of Lango, we were very proud that we will have amidst us one of the shining stars. And has already been testified by the diplomats. We are proud of your service to the country and what you continue to do. I would like to encourage many of us from northern Uganda. We don't seem to be writing books. General Ula, you have to write one. Even Mama Lagada, with such breadth of knowledge, we need to get something done. Even Simon, he says he's not a good writer. I will write one. So I would like to associate ourselves with the work that you have done. I haven't read it, but I know inside there is a pack of information that will be useful for the country. I thank you most deeply. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mara. I think I'm in good books at home. I'll proudly say that I invited the Member of Parliament from Otuke to come and say a word. Now, Mr. Hans, allow me to also invite you to, because you are a representative of foreign investors in Uganda, so we'd just like to have a different perspective as well. And you'll also understand, especially once you read the book, how all of this ties together, how every invitation here was very specific. Mr. Hans, please.
Thank you. Very honored to be here, Dixon. Thank you so much. So I'm impressed about all the high-level guests which are here, and me, I'm just his neighbor. So I appreciate. Before I read the book, I made a trip with Dixon to Lira, and so he basically told me everything that was in the book. So I had my audio book sitting next to him in the car. How we met is we are in an estate with 50 houses in Luboa, and it so happened that I chose the house which was just next to his, and that's how we met. Having breakfast occasionally and talking about our different ideas and projects. And what came up is I mentioned to him that I'm into agriculture. I've been all my life, 41 years of professional career in coffee, and I mentioned that I had a project for northern Uganda because, in my opinion, it was underdeveloped, or it is underdeveloped in terms of coffee production, and there's a lot that can be done. And then he says to me, I am from Northern. So I said, well, let's talk. And we went through the whole project, and that's why we made a trip to Lira. He understood also what I had been doing in Uganda over the years, and he realized that the first period he was talking about, Uganda since 1986 to 92, he realized that I was here. I came in 1987. And I didn't come by choice. I came because I was working for a large coffee trading company, and all my senior colleagues, they knew there was something to do in Uganda, but they were all afraid to come down here. So I was a 29-year-old trader. They said, Hans, you go. I said, yeah, with pleasure, let me go. So in 1987, I came here. We did already many things with the Coffee Marketing Board at the time. And so I've seen a lot of these things which he's mentioning in his book. For instance, the hyperinflation, 240%, he mentions that. Yeah, that's the result of printing money at the time, and can call that quantitative easing as well. Too much printed. And back in the days, in 1987, the highest note was 200 shillings. And you continue, in 1991, we got the 500 and the 1,000 shillings, and in 93, the 5,000 note. It's only in 1999 that we saw the 50,000 note. in 87 and 88, when I would go to a restaurant with some of my friends here in Uganda, we would have to ask the waiter to come down to the parking lot. We opened the booth, we gave him a box, and we said, here, you count. That was a box full of money just for a meal for two. And that's exactly what Dixon was talking about the hyperinflation. He also speaks about the liberalization period, 87 to 95. And I experienced that as well in the coffee industry. Previously working with the Coffee Marketing Board. And then came the SAP, the Structural Adjustment Programs. So gradually, the Coffee Marketing Board as a monopoly was being liquidated or phased out, if you want to have a more diplomatic word. And it was replaced by UCDA at the time. Also, within that program, the government decided to privatize by giving 5 export licenses to small companies, primary processors, mainly in Uganda, because they thought, let us give 5 export licenses. Now we're following the program. We are privatizing. But these small companies didn't have the backbone to compete with the Coffee Marketing Board, who at the time was selling FOB Mombasa. So I met all these 5 back in the days, and I managed to convince one to sell me a good chunk of his company for the mother company, the company I was working for in Switzerland. And that is today Changalani, and Dixon speaks about it on page 102. So that was the first foreign investor into the coffee industry. The others followed, all the other multinationals who are there today. There's 8. They're all there, but they all came after Changalani, which was opened in 1991, straight away after the SAP program was put in place. So I feel a bit sad though, because what happened is when Changalani came into the market with all the cash, the whole market, which had been based on supplying coffee and credit, the farmers delivered to the Coffee Marketing Board, and then the Coffee Marketing Board would sell, and then they would get a payment finally when the coffee was sold based on FOB Mombasa. With Changalani coming into the market, the cash came to the farmers, and that has contributed to the demise of the cooperatives, which today I'm trying to correct. But back in the days, all the cooperatives were weakened because there was cash in the field, which had not happened before that. So when I see the progress which Uganda has made since 1986, and that is not only in the coffee segment where I feel at home, it is quite remarkable. And there is certain things in Dixon's book where he speaks about progress and he mentions a few points, but he's a little bit overly optimistic, saying that fertilizers are now coming to the farmers. We all know, and I was speaking to my neighbor, that a lot of fertilizers are being shaded and are being downgraded, so they're being sold for what it is, but in fact it only has 50% of the active ingredient. So there's a lot to do there. It's also mentioned about, in Dixon's book, about irrigation, which is now coming to the farms. I'm traveling constantly across Uganda. Well, I haven't seen that much irrigation, I must admit, and over the last few years we had some severe droughts which impacted the coffee industry as well. But all in all, the whole coffee industry, when I started working with Uganda, there was 1.8 million bags of coffee. Today we just hit the 8.8 million bags of coffee, and the president wants to go to 20 million. So we still have a few years to achieve that. And we see this progress, which is quite amazing and shows the resilience of the coffee farmers here. So my company, Plutus, is a farmer extension services company for all the farmers and the cooperatives. I said I wanted to come back to the cooperatives because I contributed to their demise back in the early 90s. And I think time has come where the farmers, to be stronger, have to be together again. And we're working now In Banyankola, we work with Banyankola Quiterano Cooperative. That groups a total of 50,000 farmers. We work in the east, and I have this huge project in northern Uganda, where coffee production has started about 10 years ago. So, sadly, that huge cooperative union in Mbarara had a big problem for its governance, to say it mildly and politely. So 3 years ago, a lot of money has disappeared from the coffers, and most of the farmer groups distanced themselves from the union. We're working on that. We're trying to teach everybody in good governance, but also in all the modern agronomic systems which we can provide to them. So this is just a little perspective of what I have lived firsthand, 87 to 92. And the interesting part was that when the president decided to dismantle UCDA and to regroup it under MIEF, I remember reading somewhere where the president said, "What has UCDA done? Operation Wealth Creation has done much more in just a few years." Well, that's his decision, but many people were disturbed. Oh, UCDA is going to disappear. I have seen the Coffee Marketing Board disappear, UCDA come up, and now I've seen it being taken over by MIEF. Well, guess what? Your coffee is still being exported, and no matter who is the authority above it, the coffee will keep on being exported from this country. And I think that the government here has done a remarkable job, especially in terms of stability. A foreign investor, he likes to come in a country where there is stability. And that's what Uganda has provided for many. So I'm confident that the only way is up for Uganda. And I hope to participate in that as well. Thank you very much. And Dixon, nice to be your neighbor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hans. Now, this is somebody who has read the book. How many of you have read the book? You need to read the book. So thank you very much, Hans, and thank you for that critique. It comes from a point of knowledge of Uganda, of the business in Uganda, and the industry in Uganda. Thank you once again. Now, if you have not read the book, you need to get a copy of the book. So we have got ushers waiting. If any of you would like a copy of this book, you could just raise your hands and you can get a beautiful hardcover book at only 150,000 shillings. I know many of you spend much more than that over the weekend buying beer and other things. Now, this is your opportunity to put that money to good use. Get to know about Uganda since 1986. So I'm shortly going to invite you to dinner. Dinner is ready. Before we get to dinner, however, allow me to just recognize just one or two people. Dr. Robinson Ogwang. I don't know where Dr. Robinson is. Well, Dr. Robinson Ogwang is from the Lango Development Agenda. Are you the one? Oh, yes, I just wanted to recognize Dr. Ogwang and also Dr. Theon Tale from the Rotary Club of Muyenga. Are you here? Yes. Are there other Rotarians in the house? Other Rotarians in the house? Yes. Rotary family, thank you for the support and thank you for all that you do. And also, of course, Muzey Ramos Masrani. Yes, Muzey, you're most welcome. We recognize you. And Honorable Moses Muhanji. Now, thank you, Honorable. And of course, they work together under M&R Properties, and this is where Ambassador Dixon is chair of the board. So happy to recognize you. Now, I'll just allow you to just greet the people.
Praise God. The Lord is good. Protocol observed. I'm here just to congratulate Ambassador Sean Ogwang Okul. Congratulations. Ambassador and I are from Lango sub-region. He went to he went to Dr. Bote College. I went to Lango College. But we great friends. When I was in Lango Development Forum, and also when I was the youth representative, Lango community in Kampala, I coordinated with Ambassador on a number of programs, promoting education in Lango sub-region, and also promoting peace in northern Uganda. But what I want to say about my work and Ambassador Dixon was at a time when he was in the United States in Washington. I was working for Children AIDS Fund International, and we were implementing a cooperative agreement with the United States government with funding from PEPFAR through Center for Disease Control and Prevention, Comprehensive Care, Treatment, and Prevention Services. An ambassador became somebody we can count on to make people know what we are doing to achieve a generation free from HIV/AIDS. So on this day, as you launch your book, I want to congratulate you. I promise to review your second book. I'm a public health professional, I'm an academician, but at the same time, Ambassador Ogwang worked closely with me in programs associated with the church. I congratulate you.
Thank you, Dr. Ogwang. Thank you very much. I'm sure the Lango community is really proud. One of your sons has written a book, and make sure that you buy a copy of that book and read it. Dr. Teo, I think I recognized you as a Rotarian, but she's actually here as a representative of the Grashel Marshall Trust. So you're most welcome once again. We're happy to have you in our midst. Now, distinguished guests, we are almost ready to cut the ribbon here and launch the book, but we can't do it when you are hungry. So we'd like to invite you to come and have a meal. The ushers are going to guide you to where the meals are. And since we're not going to have a long prayer, I want you to accept my prayer for the meal. So let's humble ourselves. Almighty God, some people have the food, but they have no appetite. And others have the appetite, but have no food. For us that have the food and the appetite, we are truly grateful. May you bless the food. Amen. Food, dinner is served. So we have got 2 serving points, one on either side, and the ushers will come and lead you to a table so that we can do this in an orderly way. So I'm directed that we're all going to serve from this serving point. So just wait for the ushers to guide you to the serving point, and then we can have dinner. At this point, let me also invite Neptune to lead us in some music. But I have to recognize somebody. This is Mrs. Gubachan Singh, mother to Rani, who is the spouse to Ambassador Dixon. So, Mommy, you're welcome. If nobody is coming to lead you to dinner, I'm coming to lead you myself. I'll be a good son-in-law. Thank you very much.
cold sweat, hard-headed believer. I threw my hands in the air, said, show me something. He said, if you dare, come a little closer. Round and around and around and around we go. Oh, now tell me now, tell me now, tell me now, you know. Not really sure how to feel about it. Something in the way you move makes me feel like I can't live without you, and it takes me all the way. I want you to stay. Want you to stay. It's not much of a life you're living. It's not just something you take, it's given. Round and around and around and around we go. Oh, now tell me now, tell me now, tell me now, you know. Not really sure how to feel about it. Something in the way you move makes me feel like I can't live without you, and it takes me all the way. I want you to stay. I want you to stay.
Back in the innocent days, there was a young cowboy who was in love with a Mexican girl. Only she didn't know, and he would watch her when she walked by, and her cotton dress would dance in the wind, and her eyes held the stars. Now she was the most beautiful thing that cowboy had ever seen, sent down straight from heaven. But he was afraid he will never win her heart because of some family scars left by the wrong choice. But oh, how we loved her. Señorita, passing by, pardon me if I stop and ask you why. Señorita, could it be someone like you could love someone like me? Whoa. So he walked up to her, dipped his heart, and introduced himself. And she looked up to him, and she didn't know what to say. So he told her the story of his family and the troubles that brought the barbed wire, and of all the things that he could not change. And then he told her that he loved her. And she started her reaction. And by the time the spring rains came, they were married. Now there's an old song that the family used to sing about a young cowboy on a Mexican girl and how they fell in love. Señorita, passing by, pardon me if I stop and ask you why. Señorita, could it be someone like you could love someone like me? Señorita, passing by, pardon me if I stop and ask you why. Señorita, could it be someone like you could love 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 someone like me. This old love struck so just leaves for a moment you around. When I hold on to you, it is all I can do, just to keep my feet on the ground. My heart is out of control. This old love struck so just leaves for a moment you around. When I hold on to you, it is all I can do, just to keep my feet on the ground. Desperately loving you desperately. When you're not here with me, I got a little bit crazy. Constantly thinking about you constantly. Look what you've done to me. I'm just like a little baby. Oh, I love you desperately. One more time. Will I love, will I cry, will I live or will I die? It all depends upon you. It is dangerous, I know, to be lost in you so, but I am, and there's nothing I can do. Desperately loving you desperately. When you're not here with me, I got a little bit crazy. Constantly thinking about you constantly. Look what you've done to me. I'm just like a little baby. Oh, I love you desperately. Oh, I love you desperately. Oh, I love you desperately. Thank you. Everyone considered him Kampala the county. Never stood on a single time to prove the county wrong. His mama named him Tommy, but the fox just called him Yellow. Something arranged stupid, the reading told me wrong. He was only 10 years old as Daddy died in prison. And I took care of Tommy, cause he was my brother's son. And I still recall the final words my brother said, Tommy, son, my life is over, but yours has just begun. Promise me, son, not to do the things you've done. Don't walk away from trouble when you can. Now you don't mean you're weak if you turn the other cheek. And I hope you old enough to understand. Son, you don't have to fight to be a man. All the gunly boys will come across when they walked into the barrow. All they took were the three of them. You got away across the floor. and told me stop to lock the door. Then you can't get loose living. As the tears fell inside his face, I heard these words again. Promise me, son, not to do the things of time. I'll walk away from trouble when you can. Now you don't mean you're weak, you couldn't turn the other cheek. And I hope you're old enough to understand. Sometimes you gotta fight your revenge. Thank you.
For decades, a nation's story has unfolded, a journey of transformation, resilience, and progress. But what does this journey truly look like through the eyes of someone who has lived it, served it, and documented it? Join us for the official launch of Uganda Since 1986, a compelling new book by Foreign Service Officer Ambassador Dixon Ogwong Okul. This isn't just a book launch, it's a celebration of Uganda's socio-economic transformation. Picture a nation where the currency was almost worthless. Hyperinflation raged at over 200%. The formal economy had collapsed. This was Uganda in 1986, emerging from decades of devastating conflict. But the story I share today is not one of despair. It is a phoenix rising from the ashes, a nation that transformed itself into one of Africa's most inspiring turnaround stories. Over the next few minutes, we will trace Uganda's journey of resilience, reform, and remarkable innovation. First task was to stop the bleeding. With support from the IMF and World Bank, Uganda's leaders took bold, painful steps. Inflation, once 240%, fell to just 5% by 1995. Confidence returned as the Bank of Uganda gained independence, but the most symbolic reform came in coffee. Once strangled by a state monopoly, coffee markets were liberalized in 1991. Farmers sold directly to exporters, prices rose, quality improved, and rural communities felt hope again. This decade was about rebuilding from rubble. Growth began, not from strength, but from survival. With stability secured, Uganda entered its golden age. For over a decade, growth averaged 7 to 8% a year. Two forces powered this boom. First, liberalization. Dozens of state-owned enterprises were privatized. Foreign investors arrived. Banking, brewing, and telecommunications were revitalized. Second, social investment. In 1997, Uganda launched universal primary education. Primary enrollment leapt from 2.5 million to over 8 million children. Later, universal secondary education followed. The nation invested in its greatest resource, its people. The poverty headcount fell dramatically, from 56% in 1992 to below 20% by 2012. HIV/AIDS prevalence dropped from 18% to around 6.5%. And then came discovery. Commercial oil reserves in 2006, setting the stage for a new era. The 2010 ACE brought ambition, infrastructure took center stage, mega dams like Karuma and Isimba, a vast new road network and energy expansion. But the real superstar was the services sector. In 2009, MTN launched mobile money. More than a payment tool, it was a financial revolution. Millions gained access to savings, transfers, and credit, leapfrogging banks. By 2023, over 20 million Ugandans were using it, making fintech the largest contributor to GDP. Yet challenges grew. Uganda's population nearly tripled, from 17 million in 1990 to almost 50 million today. Each year, over 700,000 young people enter the job market. Global shocks like COVID-19 crippled tourism and disrupted trade, reversing poverty gains. Still in 2022, Uganda reached a final investment decision for oil in the East African crude oil pipeline, paving the way for first oil in 2025. Just when many believed Uganda's future revolved around oil and services, a new chapter opened. In 2022, Uganda announced the discovery of approximately 31 million metric tons of gold ore, estimated to yield some 320,000 plus tons of refined gold, valuing reserves in the trillions. In August 2025, Uganda inaugurated its first large-scale gold mine in Busia district, a $250 million facility that refines to 99.9% purity. This mine will process 5,000 tons of ore daily and yield over 1.2 tons of gold annually, a dramatic leap from the mere 0.042 tons produced domestically in prior years. Gold exports already soared. In 2023, export value jumped over 10 times, $2.3 billion from about $201 million the year before. With gold, Uganda moves from stone to gold, from hidden potential to transformative resource. Economic numbers tell one story, human well-being tells another. Life expectancy has risen from 43 years in 1986 to over 65 years today. Nearly all children now access primary school. Electricity reaches almost half the population, up from less than 5%. Yet challenges remain. Education quality is uneven, leaving many without skills for the modern economy. Youth unemployment is the greatest social risk. Poverty reduction has stalled since 2013, and climate change threatens agriculture, the backbone of rural life. We have built the house, but making it a home for all remains unfinished work. Uganda's journey from 1986 to 2025 is one of the most compelling transformations in Africa. From violence to peace, from instability to certainty, from stone to gold, from water to oil, from blood to milk, we have rebuilt a broken state, empowered our people, and unlocked abundant resources. We now carry the weight of expectations. To manage oil and gold prudently, to convert growth into meaningful jobs, to ensure education and health are truly life-changing, and to guard against inequality or environmental harm. The next chapter is not recovery, it is inclusive, sustainable prosperity. The pearl of Africa has risen, it now shines brighter than ever. Uganda is ready for the future.
I hope you have all had the opportunity to follow that very short clip, that mini documentary, that gives you the purpose, the reason behind the book, the reasons and the summation of what our author had to say. I also hope that you have all had an opportunity to have something to eat and drink. If you haven't, there's always space for more. The tills are still open, so you're welcome to have seconds. We shall not judge you. Our distinguished guests, I know we plan to hold you here all night, but even then, we still have to officially launch this book. We have heard from quite a few friends, we've heard from family, we've heard from mentors, we've heard from people from the different services. Now, the moment that we have all been waiting for, the reason why we are here, we can now go into the official launch of this book. And just before we do, allow me to invite our very own Ambassador Dixon Ogwang to please take some time and come and give us some information about the inspiration for this book and what we hope to get by getting a copy of this book. So let's give him a round of applause. Let's welcome him with love.
Distinguished guests, representatives of the executives who are here in your different capacities, representatives of the legislature, the Parliament of Uganda, members of Parliament and the staff, honored to have you. Representative from the judiciary. It was great to have here the judge of the Supreme Court, Justice Mike Chibita, and Justice Deepa, and all other justices and worships, officers of the court. Thank you for coming. Honorable ministers of foreign affairs are not here, but I received the apologies. As you will realize, most politicians today are busy trying to justify why they should return back to Parliament. Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, I'm so happy to have representatives from the Embassy of France. Thank you for coming. My friends from the High Commission of Kenya and other embassies and High Commissions represented here. I'm delighted to have you, colleagues. The representative of the Chief of Defense Forces and distinguished members of the Disciplined Force of Uganda, the UPDF, the Uganda Police, the prison services, I'm overjoyed that this occasion has got all of you present. Thank you. Permanent secretaries, especially the representative of the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, my dear brother Eli Kamahunji, accompanied by other colleagues from the Foreign Service, and joined together with our retired senior colleagues, my former boss at the ministry, my dear friend, Ambassador Patrick Mugoya. I'm really honored that you're here. Ambassador Mol Katende, my big brother. You remind me of a great time in Washington. Thank you for coming. Colleagues, fellow civil servants from other ministries, departments, and agencies of government, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dixon Ogwangukul. It has been flying over and over again. I'm a Foreign Service officer in the Foreign Service of Uganda. Currently serving in Sudan, posted as Foreign Service Officer Grade 2, and serving as Head of Chancery. That is the Head of Administration at the ministry, at the mission. I also run a conciliation and consultancy firm, Rado Conciliation and Consultancy Services, with my team based at the BMK House here in Kampala. Friends, today is a special night, a great night. We are here not just to launch a book, but to celebrate and honor a story, our story, Uganda's story. And the story of a man who has devoted his life to the service of his country with dignity, conviction, and selflessness. It is my honor to welcome you to the launch of this new book, Uganda Since 1986, the socio-economic transformation journey of Uganda since 1986 through the eyes of a Foreign Service officer. I must confess that throughout the years, when I was writing this book, I had a very long title. And the title was The Socio-Economic Transformation Journey of Uganda Since 1986 Through the Eyes of a Foreign Service Officer. When the book was all complete, already in the publishing house, editor had accepted it, but I had conversation from friends and others who contributed to the book, said you need to have a short title. And it was quick for me to realize that I'm talking about the story of Uganda since 1986. And that became the short story of the book. Friends, the journey of transformation we're celebrating today, from turbulence to tranquility, from violence to peace, from instability to certainty, from stone to gold, from water to oil, and from blood to milk, is not an accident of story. It is the result of deliberate, courageous, and strategic leadership. And yes, if Uganda were a vehicle, by 1985, the fuel tank was empty, the engine was smoking, and the tires were borrowed. Then, in 1986, someone finally found the keys. And no wonder that someone later introduced the symbol of the mighty NRM bus, because truly, Uganda needed a full bus, a new driver, and a fresh route map. And when the man with the hat said, "Let us drive forward," forward we went, ladies and gentlemen. And this time, on a bus with real tires and proper engine and driving forward. I must pay tribute, profound tribute, to the vision bearer, His Excellency the President, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, President of the Republic of Uganda, whose foresight and commitment to peace, stability, and bold economic reforms form the backbone of this remarkable journey. My personal journey, from the armed forces to public prosecution and later to diplomatic service in the Uganda Foreign Service, gives me a unique vantage point from which I wrote this book. Many have talked about me, where I've grown and raised, a land of conflict from northern Uganda. In fact, Mommy here was headmistress at St. Catherine when I was president of students at Dr. Bore College. And I realized he was a good leader. But all through, I was aligned to the movement because I appreciated the movement system from childhood when I joined Senior 1, and I saw the march of the disciplined forces into Lira after we had suffered and our district, our town, had become a ghost town, a killing ground, smelling with dead bodies. But when NRA marched into Lira, that was a turning point, and it's a turning point that forced me and drove me to write this journey of Uganda, because I've walked through it all. The story of Ugandan's transformation rests on several pillars, which when viewed together, read like the chapters of a nation that refused to stay down. In the early years of 1986, when hyperinflation was dancing above 200%, like a stubborn village drum at a wedding, bold reforms brought it crashing back to single digits. Coffee was liberalized, and suddenly the farmer who once polished his coffee beans like treasure could finally earn from them again. Truly a shift from stone to gold. As we move into the era of sustained growth and social economic infrastructure and investment, Uganda became one of Africa's fastest growing economies. An introduction of Uganda universal primary education in 1987 became the greatest educational revolution since independence. Overnight, every child had provisions to run to school. Some even running barefoot and are past the school because of excitement. They could not just run to school, but they ran beyond school. Our life expectancy rose from 47 to 65 years. Proof that the national journey had moved from blood to milk. Then came the era of infrastructure and digital innovation, where Uganda began to build dams and highways with the confidence of a nation that finally knew where it was going. And when mobile money arrived, we discovered that even if we did not own a bicycle, your phone could carry money faster than any border, Ugandan's very own digital oil. You know, in the years before, one would write a letter to a relative in Kampala asking for school fees or for money to go to hospital. But now, a phone call and money would be sent instantly using mobile money. This is a revolution I'm talking about. Throughout this journey, our democratic institutions, the executive, the legislature, the judiciary, and the National Planning Authority were working like the wise elders under the mango tree, each playing its role in shaping, guiding, and safeguarding national progress. Meanwhile, our foreign service officers abroad quietly becoming the country's ambassadors of opportunity, unlocking markets, attracting investments, projecting Ugandan's image, and ensuring that the Pearl of Africa shines in distant capitals. Yet, despite these achievements, our work is not yet finished. The challenges of youth unemployment, climate change, and industrialization will call for renewed commitment, and as we prepared for first oil, a new era beckons. One that asks for how we recovered, but how we shall rise even higher. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, I am reminded of a challenge once passed to me by my law school professor. I don't know whether he's here. He insisted, and he's right, that Dixon, Uganda was not born in 1986. Why are you talking about Ugandan's journey from 1986? Our nation's legal and political foundations trace back to independence in 1962, and even further into the era of protectorate. We inherited functioning infrastructure and institutions. The courts where I later served in life, the Bank of Uganda, the civil service, our national symbols, and the constitutional spirit that carried us through the turbulent decades. These pillars form unbroken chain of statehood, a continuity that 1986 did not replace, but further revived. Yet, the reason this book focuses on the period since 1986 is simple and honest. It was the point at which Uganda began a profound policy, governance, and development reset. We went into a reset mode. By mid-1980s, our security situations had crumbled. Hyperinflation exceeded 200%. An institution had nearly collapsed. You know, in my book, you will see how I talked about the streets of Kampala when the NRA marched in, the potholes, the miserable faces, the lack of business. Everything had collapsed at that time, and no one should deny this, including my law school professor who challenged me. What followed in 1986 was not the birth of a new Uganda, but the rebirth of Ugandan's functionality. A restoration of confidence, of order, and of purpose. National Resistance Movement Administration, under the transformative leadership of His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, Uganda embarked on reforms that shifted the nation from the brink of failure to the birth of stability, modernization, and socio-economic transformation. This book, therefore, I warmly invite you to read it with an open heart and inquisitive mind. May it offer insight, provoke reflection, and inspire confidence in what Uganda has become and what Uganda can yet be. And tonight, I invite you to join me in celebrating not just a publication and the writing, and a remarkable journey from turbulence to triumphs. Ladies and gentlemen, I warmly invite you to read this book with an open heart and inquisitive mind. Allow me now also to express my deepest and sincere gratitude to all who made this launch especially possible. This launch is made possible first and foremost by my ministry, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who first approved the publication of this book. Colleagues in public service, you'll agree with me that before you publish a book, you have to seek permission to publish your book, and you remain safe. I'm very safe as I launch this book because my ministry gave me a go-ahead. The Uganda mission in the Republic of Sudan, my professional home and extended family currently, gave me time to write this book, and I'm honored to be home to finish the publication and launching it today. I thank my ambassador in absentia, His Excellency Ambassador Rashid Yahaya Semudu, who is my good friend and colleague, and has given me this opportunity to finish my book. Roofing groups and all our generous partners for believing in this vision. The number of people who have contributed, including roofings. Thank you. I'm also honored that my friend Han, he was seated, long-time investor, my neighbor and a friend in our home in the estate, believed in my book and is here to talk about the story and has contributed to make us happy today. Thank you. I'm happy to thank my business friends, Muzei, Rames, Masrani, and my colleague, my friend, Honorable Moses Mohangi. Thank you for your contribution for making this a possibility. My family and friends whose love, encouragement, and patience have carried me through every chapter of my life, including the inconveniences I gave them during the writing of my book. My wife is here. Queen Rani, you can stand up. My son is here. Where is my son, David Ogwang? You are somewhere there. I disappeared from you many times. Sometimes I could jump off the bed at 2 a.m. and remain without breakfast up to 4 p.m. I'm in the reading room and working on this book. And my wife would sometimes get annoyed, but she could understand me. That journey is over, madam. Thank you. And each one of you here today, tonight, whose presence is a testament to share and to believe, to confirm that as a people, we have shared hope in a shared vision for a better Uganda. Thank you all. May God bless you. And may God bless the Republic of Uganda. May God bless our torchbearer, His Excellency, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. And may he come out successful from the current journey that has made this house miss his presence. Let us now celebrate the story together tonight. Let us celebrate this night together, and the reason for the beauty, from the elegance that has made this place so beautiful, Allow me thank my event organizer, Madame Monica, and my friends and business community from the Sudan. They are here in numbers. Can you stand up for recognition? The business colleagues, friends from Sudan, all of you. Adam, you're there with your family. Professor Dr. Argali, my PhD supervisor, is here. And many others from Sudan. And this man from the television station in Khartoum. They are here to take the story back. The setting, where this book is written. This book is technically written from Sudan and completed in Uganda. Thank you very much, colleagues. It is a beautiful night to be together. Enjoy the evening, my in-laws. Thank you for coming. Muzee Gurbashan family, Mr. Singh, Dogo, and colleagues. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you, Commissioner Lamek Kumara Peter. You were not mentioned. I'm happy you're here. Mr. Singh G, thank you for coming. I am so honored to have all of you friends. I may not mention you by name, but your coming to launch this book is a great honor to me and in my professional career as a writer and a foreign service officer. Thank you very much.
Ambassador, kindly stay where you are. This is the juncture that I hand over to you and give you the opportunity to invite our guest of honor.
In fact, before I invite the guest of honor, allow me to recognize the presence of the entire fraternity of the armed forces. Wherever you are, first stand up for recognition. UPDF, thank you. Thank you very much. Before I invite the chief guest, I need to say that I belong to a big body of Uganda Christian military, and they're represented here. Our president is Lieutenant General Wakalo, who is not able to be here, but is represented by one of our brothers at the back. Thank you for coming. And members of AMCF, thank you for coming. I also belong to the fraternity of Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity, led by Dr. Kakoza, who is present here with the entire team from UCLF. Dr. Kakoza, wherever you are, you can stand up for recognition. I also have colleagues from Makerere University Law School, our worship, Elizabeth, Sister Lillian, and all those who went with us to Makerere University Law School, wherever you are, you can stand up and they wave for you. Thank you so much for joining me in this professional celebration. And now, I take this opportunity to invite the chief guest tonight's occasion. I had communication with the Office of the Chief of Defense Forces, and you will know the reason why I chose him and the UPDF, the dividend of peace, stability, and security that Uganda is enjoying today. And the reason for my story is brought by the men on boats. These men sacrificed their blood to give us milk in Uganda. My brother, General Paddy Ankonda, come and deliver the speech on behalf of the CDF. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Our host tonight, Ambassador Dixon Ogwang, and your wife, senior government leaders present tonight, senior leaders in the private sector, generals in the house. I will borrow General Tafire's words all of you very big people, good evening. It's an honor to be with you tonight. But let me say that if Ambassador Ogwang was to be in the bush as a rebel, God forbid, he would be a very good ambush commander. And his deputy would be the master of ceremonies, Mr. Peter Odeke. We want to thank God that he has made this possible today. And we want to thank you, Ambassador, and your team for inviting us, for inviting the Chief of Defense Forces. I had the opportunity to meet him this morning, but we were in another meeting, and he indicated that he wouldn't be able to come and attend because of other state duties. And so he asked me to join you and represent him at this very, very important occasion. Thank you so much for inviting us. But if I may start, and I must admit that I'm going to be speaking off the script. I don't have a written speech. But if I may ask, let me ask you members of the audience, who knows where the best ideas that could have changed this world are lying? Who knows where the best ideas that could have changed this world are lying? Does anyone have an answer? Ambassador, you want to try? Thank you very much, Ambassador. A round of applause for the Ambassador. The best ideas that can change this world into a better world are lying in the cemetery. They're lying in the grave. Because those who fell, those who passed on without writing them in a book, never contributed to the transformation story of the world. And so I want to congratulate you, Ambassador, for having the courage to write this book and put your ideas in this book for everybody to see. Congratulations. Now, this transformation story of Uganda since 1986 is a long story. And I will not attempt to go through it. But 40 years of peace and tranquility have enabled our country to achieve certain milestones of transformation. Those of you who are old will remember that between 1979 and 1986, our country had 6 presidents. I'm sure those of you who are old enough can still remember. Mzee Hassan, Tuaha, and others. That we can have an interrupted, steady journey of transformation of 40 years is something that we should not take for granted. I joined the forces in 1998 as a young man from Makerere University, and I've been serving now for 27 years. And I happen to have been in quite a number of campaigns, military campaigns, against the insurgencies that attempted to disrupt this country. Those of you who still remember, you could remember Lieutenant Pade Ankunda, those years in northern Uganda. Our forces were able to defeat these insurgencies and ensure that our country continues on a very steady path of transformation. sharing with a friend recently, he told me that if Uganda was a matchbox, there's one stick that is left in the matchbox. And this stick is the Uganda People's Defense Forces. This is somebody talking to me. And I asked him why. He said, there can be nothing that a leadership can bequeath to a country other than building state capacity, disciplined forces that do not turn their gun against the civilians and abuse human rights, but those who participate in ensuring that the transformation of the country happens. And I think the UPDF is steadily contributing to that. And so we want to thank God that we continue to see these milestones happening in our midst. In 1986, the story is told in this book. Our GDP was $5 billion. And as you know today, it is close to 50 billion. This is not a simple milestone. But also, for those of you who are familiar with the issues in the security forces, you know that today Uganda deploys forces in Somalia to contribute to the peace efforts in that country. Uganda deploys troops in the Democratic Republic of Congo against the ADF, where I can report that the ADF has greatly been weakened. Uganda deploys troops in South Sudan, where we are contributing to the peace process. Uganda deploys troops in Equatorial Guinea, where we are mentoring the security forces there. And recently, we have also deployed mentors in the Central African Republic. Ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you that you have a reliable army, the defense forces, and they underline the transformation story of this country. Now, I didn't get the opportunity to read through this book, but I had the opportunity to scan through it where I was seated. And I take note of very important areas that you may wish to read. When you read, for those of you who now have a copy, when you read page 39, the author highlights the role of peace in economic development. And I think this is the most important contribution that the leadership of this country and the security forces has made to this country. Peace and security underlines every development effort. And I'm happy, Ambassador, that you highlight that very, very well. But also, I want to thank you for indicating the capacity of our leadership by including in your book, on page 199, the topic addressing the bottlenecks to Uganda's socio-economic transformation. When you read this book, you will see that the author highlights 11 bottlenecks that have encumbered the transformation of not only Uganda, but the African continent. These points were made by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, while addressing the African Union a number of years ago. And I can tell you that these 11 points, these 11 bottlenecks, have now become the blueprint of the African Union in addressing socio-economic transformation issues throughout Africa. This is very important. In fact, these points are used by the African Review peer mechanism to assess the transformation journeys of the different countries on the African continent. And so, Ambassador, I want to thank you for ably highlighting these bottlenecks as stipulated by His Excellency the President. And I think this is one of his biggest contributions to the transformation efforts of the African continent. Now, Ambassador, you walked this journey as a young man in northern Uganda when finally the pro-people security forces entered Lira. But not only Lira, but even other parts of northern Uganda. For those of you who come from northern Uganda today, those of you who remember Gulu of 2001 and the Gulu of today, you can attest that transformation is possible if the leadership is right. I go to Gulu today, and I can't believe that I'm in Gulu city, a completely transformed city. This is leadership at work. So we want to thank His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda for his strategic leadership in addressing the challenges that face our people, in building a credible institution of the Uganda People's Defense Forces and other security agencies to ensure that there is peace and security to enable our transformation. Now, I know we've been here since 4 p.m., and it's only fair that we get to the end of this function. But I want to report, Ambassador, that the Chief of Defense Forces is pleased to buy 10 copies of this book at 1.5 million. And these copies will go to the National Defense College of Uganda and the Staff College of Uganda, Chimaka, so that our officers who attend these courses can benefit from the well-elaborated story of Uganda since 1986. Now, for those of you who haven't written, those of you like me who haven't written, please don't go with those ideas. Because when that happens, you will have lost an opportunity to set your own legacy. That people can make reference to your ideas even when you are away. Have the courage to write. Never mind that people will not read these books. Just do your work and write. There will be people who will read your work. I have, at various levels, I have written a few theses at master's level, but I think I need to transit now to more publishable work like Ambassador Ogwang has done, so that these books can be in the libraries and can be accessed by people who want to utilize them. Once again, Ambassador, congratulations upon completing this journey. And I think it was only fair that we show up in these numbers to partake in this journey and demonstrate to you that your effort was not in vain. Congratulations, and may God bless all of you. I now take this opportunity. Is there anything that you want me to do?
Yes.
Yes.
I will ask that you can officially declare
Yes,
it launched.
I want
and then we
to-
shall ask you to remain there.
Yes. I want to take this opportunity to now officially launch Uganda Since 1986 through the eyes of a Foreign Service officer, authored by Ambassador Dickson Ogwang Okur. Congratulations, Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Could I kindly ask that you remain where you are? Please do remain exactly where you are. Our distinguished guests, if you know that you were invited to have a moment with a microphone here, we would like to invite you to come and join this team so that we can have a group photograph. Thank you very much. So could I invite the entire team, everybody that had a word today, please come and join us at the front here, where we can have a group photograph, representative as well from the judiciary.
I request that I invite the auditor and the publisher to join us here. Honey Badgers Publishing House, and the auditor, Mr. Andrew and Mr. Joel, please put your hands together for Honey Badgers. If you want to publish your book, Honey Badgers are the best. They did a great work for me. I was referred to them by Professor Dr. Daniel Roheza, my colleague in Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity, and they have published a lot of books for him. Thank you, Honey Badgers, for the great work you have done for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Could I have, please, some of you could step up onto the stage so that we can have more of you appearing. I think even as the team is getting set, even as they're getting set, I think I would use this opportunity to speak on your behalf, on everybody's behalf, in noting that the message from the CDF has been well received. And if anybody can communicate back, we are happy to actually announce that we received the message well. He was well represented. And we look forward, of course, to seeing General in different roles in future. And we look forward to also reading your book because you have a lot to say. So for the cameras, I'll give you 5 more seconds. You have 4 more seconds. Thank you. You may display the front of the book. And this is what we shall remember in posterity. That you attended, you represented, and you witnessed the writing and publishing of a great book. All right, thank you very much. Now, please don't leave. We're now going to ask you to step up on the stage and sign the dummy copy that we have right there. So we don't only want your picture, we want your signature as well. So we have got markers, and every one of you can have a little space in this commemorative dummy book where you can have a very quick message. So we'll kindly ask that you sign one at a time, and as you do, the cameras. Thank you. Can we have the next two please come up and be a part of this history? Thank you very much. Thank you, General Ankunda. Could you have the other members of the Foreign Service? Please don't miss this moment. And please don't go far, because immediately after you sign, we're now going to cut the cake, which is at the side. We are going for a cake cutting now. So please don't go far. Foreign Service officers, FSOs, could you please come? Don't miss out on this iconic photo. So FSOs, please come and join in this iconic photo. We still have one more quick function, which is the cutting of the cake. So we ask that you don't go too far. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, thank you, the Rotary family. Thank you, Rotary family. You have just a minute. Please come and be a part of this photograph. Rotary has played a very big role in the life of Ambassador Ogwang. Thank you very much, Rotary. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, the family of Rotary. Thank you very much, foreign service officers. Now, I know we have family. We have got friends who are here who would like you to come and represent everybody else who's here in the cutting of the cake. So if there's family that are here, family, please come and join us. Come and join Ambassador and Mrs. in the cutting of the cake. We're not going to spend too much time on that, but we just invite you to please come quickly and join them. Our guest of honor. To our guest of honor, we still invite you to come and join the family and friends in the cutting of this cake. For those of you who cannot see, the cake looks very much like a book. It looks very much like the book that you have seen, that you have witnessed. Yes, please, family and friends, please join in quickly so that we can quickly cut this cake and make sure we have got official literary dessert. And we can have a countdown from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and congratulations. Thank you very much. So now we are sure that you attended. If you have not appeared in any of these photos, are we sure that you were here? Are we sure? So family and friends, please, you're still welcome to come and join. Ensure that you feature somewhere in these photos. When we look at these pictures 10 years from now, make sure that you feature somewhere, that you appear. Yes, and that has been cut as well. Thank you very much. So, distinguished guests, you're welcome to take your seats now. For those of you who have had the opportunity, those of you who have bought a copy of the book and you would like to have your book autographed, this will now be possible. Monica, please join us. So if you haven't had a copy, you've not had the opportunity to buy this book right now, please do, especially if you'd like to have an autographed copy. You can ask one of the ushers to get you one of the copies. If you prefer not to have a hard copy, a hardcover book, and you want to have a paperback, we also have paperback books, and you could get one of the paperbacks at 100,000 shillings only. But if you prefer to have the hardcover book, you can do that at 150,000 shillings. Allow me to recognize that the Commissioner General of Prisons has bought 6 copies for the Prisons Officers Library. So thank you very much, Uganda Prison Service. This has been noted. We shall come to look at them and read them in your library. Thank you very much. So at least we're now sure that we shall have copies at the Senior Command College in Kimaka. We shall have copies at the Uganda Prisons Officers Library. Thank you so much. If any of you would like to have some of these copies also in your libraries, not just at home, but at work, you're welcome to ensure that you get a copy that is also signed by the author. So Ambassador Dixon is now seated at the desk in the corner near the screen, and he's signing any copies that you may have bought. So if you'd like to have an autographed copy, you're welcome to join him at that desk, and he will sign it with your name or with your company name, just to ensure that you are part of posterity. Thank you very much. And even as we do, let me invite the DJ to give us some nice music as our evening slowly winds down. The ushering team, please come and join us and help us in the serving of this cake. We have also received a message from Professor Dr. Asa Al-Ghali from the Sudan. This is well noted when he says this book is truly a miracle with its precise documentation and narration. It's amazing to think of a person living through 2 areas, from darkness to prosperity in a nation, and people chosen by God in their blessed land of Uganda. You are a miracle, brother. So that's the message from Professor Dr. Asa Al-Ghali. This has been very well received. Thank you very much. So distinguished guests, please ensure that before the evening is over, you have had something sweet, some cake. The night does not end. We still allow for you to mingle and interact and get to know each other and establish contacts, especially those that might help you write up a book in the future. However, on my side, on behalf of the teams that helped put this together, we thank you once again. We thank you for your attendance. and we shall allow for you to enjoy the rest of the evening. For those of you who would like to have more live music, Neptune Band is right here, and they do quite a lot for corporate events, and I think you'll pay me for this advert. But if you'd like to have them perform at any one of your corporate gigs, that's what they do, and you can get their contacts here. To all the teams that have been able to put this together, we thank you for your time and for all your effort. We shall remember the day. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a lovely evening. Rotarians, especially those from Tank Hill, please step forward. Rotarians, you wanted for a quick moment here.
For us to be over, sweet baby. Heaven will sing when we have each other. You don't have to fear, 'cause I will make you feel. I will make you feel like you've never been loved before. 'Cause I'll give you love like you've never been loved before. I will make you feel like you've never been loved before. 'Cause I will give you love like you've never been loved before. So don't be bothered by what your friends say, 'cause they don't know my love. I'll hold you, I'll be your shoulder, and you will never cry. You don't have to fear. No, no, I will make you feel. I will make you feel like you've never been loved before. 'Cause I will give you love like you've never been loved before. And I will make you feel like you've never been loved before. 'Cause I will give you love like you've never been loved before. Listen, baby, I know you've been searching for a real man who will love you for who you are. So don't look further, here I am, if you let me in. Mama told me if you find the one, She's worth fighting for, and here I am. I will give you all that I am if you let me in. Love will set us free. Yeah, if we'll let it be, and I will make you feel like you've never been loved before. Cause I will give you love like you've never been loved before. And I will make you feel like you've never been loved before. And I will make you feel like, yeah, oh, oh, oh. And I will make you feel like you've never been loved. Cause I'll forever ever be.
Sweet seducing sighs, get me out into the night. For walls won't hold me tonight. If this town is just another, then let me take a bite. If they say why, tell them that it's human nature. Why does he do it that way? If they say why, tell them that it's human nature. Why does he do it that way? Reaching out, touch a stranger. Electric eyes are everywhere. See that girl, she knows I'm watching. She likes the way I stare. If they say why, tell them that it's human nature. Why does he do it that way? If they say why, tell them that it's human nature. Why does he do it that way? I like living this way. I like loving this way. Looking out across the morning, the city's heart begins to beat. Reaching out, I touch her shoulder. I'm dreaming of a street. If they say why, tell them that it's human nature. Why does he do it that way? If they say why, tell them why does he do it that way? If they say why, does he do it that way? If they say just why, does he do it that way? If they say
Blah, blah, blah. I'm so fed up with your cheap talking. To this guy, let me fly. At the time you're walking. Only God who can stop me now. I got cross finger just like Elvis. My name is getting bigger. I know.